Jameson. I'm so glad that you were able to come sit with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Cool, cool. So normally we start with a question, but I'm going to segue a little bit. And, this show is like a work in progress. So we're just trying to figure it all out. But I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself briefly
Yes, sir.
about, basically how would you describe yourself?
Yes, sir. Let me preface this by apologizing to you and your listeners for not having a voice. Y'all forgive me for that, but I'm gonna do the best I can today. Like you said, we work in progress.
Work in
So,
progress.
yeah, my name is Jamisin Lacy. I am what they call a entrepreneur, serialpreneur,
Hmm.
serial entrepreneur.
Serial
This is a
entrepreneur.
new term for me, so I appreciate
Okay.
that. But yeah, that father, husband, um, saved by grace, a man saved by grace.
Mhm.
I mean, pretty much anything after that, I just let it fall by the wayside.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
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 So,
So, like I said, typically we start off with this question.
mhm.
When did you first fall in love with Jesus?
And when you presented me with that fall in love with Jesus question, I started to chuckle a little bit
Uh-huh.
because of my view on falling in love.
Yeah.
Because I think, well, if you can fall in love, then you can fall out of love.
Mhm.
So if I had to be honest with you, yes, I think I first fell in love in 2007 when I got saved.
Okay.
But I would also like to admit that I think I've fallen out of love
Okay.
because it was rooted in things that wasn't solid.
Okay.
So, yeah, I first fell in love, and I want to say about '07. I was a young man, early 20s,
Yeah.
uh, doing everything I shouldn't have been doing.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to Tennessee State,
Yeah.
left Tennessee State, was running track, but wasn't going to class. Literally
Okay.
just running track, smoking weed.
Okay.
So I left there, got another school in Indiana called Vincennes, hated it there, didn't even go to class, just smoked weed.
Mhm.
So now I'm kicked out of that school. I'm
Mhm.
back at home,
Mhm.
and now all I'm doing is smoking.
Okay.
So now I'm fully back in the streets with my cousin and just doing doing
Hustling.
what, yeah, exactly. But I
Okay.
mean, I'm gonna be real with you. No, I didn't even grow up as a hustler.
Okay.
It's crazy. So I grew up in the church.
Okay.
My mom had a job. So my first money that I've ever made was a job.
All
So I
right.
didn't grow up with this entrepreneurial spirit. I've only known work for your money, go work for somebody, and
Mhm.
that's how you make your money. So no,
Mhm.
I wasn't hustling. I
Okay.
had a job.
Mhm.
I was working at Applebee's,
Okay.
but just smoking and hanging out in the streets,
Got you.
ripping and running.
Now you said what age was this around?
I want to say 19, 20,
Okay.
something
All
like
right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do when we grow up, right?
Yeah.
We kind of fall away from good things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
happened, man? I was I was smoking, right? And I was
yeah,
coming to my mom's house back, I was back at the house.
yeah.
And now looking at it, I'm sure she didn't appreciate that.
Right,
So that started to cause a rift between me and my mother. And
right, right.
there was a point, even to this day, mama, forgive me, I love you. Even to this day, we still kind of have some our back and forth.
Mhm.
But at the time, she started to yell at me. So I'm on the computer, I'm upstairs, I'm typing in, I'm filling out applications, and she just comes in yelling, just
Yeah,
mad.
yeah.
And she was like, said something like to the degree of like, we can fight. And I'm like, so I get that look. I'm like, oh my God. And so that look made her say, well, if you think about hitting me, I ain't never thought,
Right,
ever thought about touching my mom. She said,
right,
if you ever
right.
think about hitting me, I'll stab you. I just so taken aback. I left the house. I just
Yeah,
started walking.
yeah.
Grabbed nothing, no clothes. I called my cousin,
Mhm.
said, come pick me up. He picked me up, had a blunt, and that was kind of like my salvation or my release of pain.
Okay,
If I had any pain, then that became the way I got rid of it
okay,
from a young man. So
okay.
um, now I'm fully into drugs,
Mhm.
primarily just weed though.
Yeah,
So I'm doing that, just smoking, drinking, hanging out, knowing better, but I didn't have anything to make me feel good because of what my mom said. So now I'm just
right,
full of pain. So I
right.
will control my pain.
Gotcha.
But it got so bad to the point I wanted to kill myself.
Really?
Right.
Wow. I mean,
So
okay.
yeah, I was so, but I was raised in church.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, if I kill myself, I know I'm going to hell.
That's right.
So
That's right.
now
That's
I'm
right.
trying to figure out how to do it without going to hell.
Right.
So I just prayed then. I just prayed that God would take my life. I
Mhm.
said, God would just end it.
Okay.
And my mama actually came back around. I had my own apartment. I say she kicked me out. They didn't.
Right.
They set me up with an apartment and paid the first 3 months.
Okay.
So it wasn't kicking out in the sense
Yeah.
of get out.
Right.
So they set me up, but I was 18, 19. I wasn't taught how to pay bills. And this is
Mhm.
pre like internet. I won't say
Yeah.
pre-internet, but like no smartphones.
Right.
So
Right.
you had to physically go pay your bills
Right.
or mail it in,
Mail
money
it
or
in.
yeah,
That's
I
right.
didn't I
That's
never
right.
done any of that.
Right.
So for 3 months, I ain't pay no bills. I think I
Okay.
might have paid rent, but no, I didn't pay rent because they paid it. So I ain't paid nothing. Electricity, no water,
Right.
no nothing.
Right.
So I'm getting to the end of this. My mom comes back around, and I get to the point where I don't want to live no more. I pray this prayer, but she starts talking to me about Jesus even more.
Okay.
So I had prayed that he would take this from me. And
Gotcha.
I went to church. Now I went down for the altar call. I don't think it was the altar call that saved me. I
Mhm.
think it was my initial thought that I didn't want it anymore.
Mhm.
But I went down for the altar call, and I went down that Sunday, and I had, weed smokers got shrines. Like
Mhm.
we got plates, we got bowls, we got grinders, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
thrones. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I remember that day I went to church, prayed, went down there, and when I came back to the house, the feeling of wanting to smoke, the desire was lifted
Oh my Lord. That's awesome.
off my shoulders, and
Mhm.
I threw everything away. So I want to say that was when I first fell in love,
Okay.
right? But I don't think I want to say I loved, right, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think if you can fall in love, you can fall out of love. And I think we see
Yeah.
that with relationships. People
Absolutely.
fall in it, but they don't love them.
Mhm.
And so I think that was the initial falling in love because he did something for me. But there wasn't a solidity of like, I love you because
Mhm.
of who you are.
Right.
So yeah, '07, I fall in love, and I thank God for my pastor. Now he was a bit of a prosperity preacher,
Okay.
but one thing he did do is he would make us. He said we're gonna do a 30-day fast, and you
Okay.
gotta read your Bible for 30 minutes.
Right.
And as a young man, that's what I did. So
Okay.
I've only known read your Bible as a saved man,
Right.
at least 30 minutes.
Right.
And so that set a foundation
Mhm.
for reading and application.
Okay.
So again, this also too why I would see Christians and get distraught.
Mhm.
Because now I'm like, well, aren't we reading the same book?
Right. Right.
Are we not doing or it said this? So even like when my mom would have back and forth,
Right.
and it wasn't until she came and told me, son, I was just raised, go to church, get saved. We weren't taught read the Bible.
Got you.
We weren't taught. So I was mad at my mom because I'm like, Mom, you put this in front of me.
Yeah.
So you told me to read it, now I'm reading it. When I'm doing what it's saying do, or when I'm presenting it to you, now you getting mad at me.
Right.
But I didn't understand that. It's
Mhm.
like we wasn't raised to just read it and then apply it.
Yeah.
It was just go to church, fire and brimstone, get
Yeah.
saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that's still kind of a gray area for me and my mom. We just had it out maybe a couple weeks ago when I went back to
Right.
Indianapolis.
Right.
And I said some things that I probably shouldn't have said. Nothing crazy, but I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
I was just speaking from my heart.
Yeah. I mean, none of us are perfect, right?
Right.
So thank God we have an advocate, as the scriptures say,
Come on.
right?
Come
Right.
on.
Those things, they come and go. I mean, I have a similar situation with my mom. We weren't raised in the church or anything like that, so
Mhm.
we didn't have the closest thing we had was my grandmother taking us to church on Easter or something like
Okay.
that.
And that was it.
That was it.
Okay.
So I really got introduced to the scriptures back when I was a teenager, probably late 18, 19.
Right.
I was dating a young lady who was a Jehovah Witness.
Okay.
So uh, in order for us to even talk to one another, I had to study
Come on.
uh, what they call it, the New World Translation of the Holy
Right.
Scriptures,
Right.
and this blue book that had all of the basic Bible principles in it.
Okay.
And I used to go weekly and sit with this elder in the Kingdom Hall
Hmm.
and got a basic foundation. But as I got older, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
The streets were calling,
Come on.
and so I kind of left that organization, but always had this knowledge of the scriptures that was built on that. And any Christian that I encountered afterward, I probably knew more scripture
Wow.
than them.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult for me
Yeah.
to even come to Jesus until maybe 12 years ago.
Wow.
So it was a long time. And like you with the desire for smoking, mine was porn magazines,
Mhm.
right? And I remember getting saved at Antioch,
Mhm.
and those things just fell away almost overnight.
Really?
Yeah, almost overnight.
Really?
Yeah, and threw them out
Yeah.
just like that, you know.
Wow.
And it was a point of contention in my marriage.
Right?
You know, who wouldn't be upset now? I understand that. But on the other side, it's just a magazine. What's the big deal? You
Right,
know.
right.
But thank God for Jesus. I mean, he just cleans you out. So
Come
I'm
on.
glad to hear that.
Come on. Yeah.
Glad to hear
And
that.
so '07, I get saved, 2008,
Hmm.
uh, I moved to Orlando. I prayed. I turned 21. I was crying. I was like, God, I ain't doing nothing with my life. I'm in Indianapolis. It's freezing cold. I
Right.
said that day, I said, God, I don't want to. I started praying. I said, I want to spend another winter in Indiana. I said, I want to learn how to sing and make music.
Okay.
And I want to have men to put in my wedding. I didn't
Right.
even have a lady at the time.
Right. Right. Right.
So a few months later, my friend, he went to Tennessee State with me. He came down here to go to Full Sail. So in September, I came down to visit him, and it was like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like this. I said, man,
Yeah.
this is how you living?
Yeah.
Palm trees and warm the breeze. And I said, brother, he had a 2 bedroom. I said, man, can I move with you? He said, yeah.
Mm,
I said, in 30 days, I'm coming back.
okay.
So I remember getting on the plane, still early 20s. I get on the plane. I say, hey, mom, I'm moving to Florida. She said, what? Gotta go. Plane's about to take off. And yeah,
Wow.
and she didn't believe me, but for sure, sure enough, I bought a Crown Vic, sold my car, bought another car, and I drove down. And I didn't have much, but I knew I wanted to go to church. And the
Yeah.
first church I went to, we were over by Full Sail.
Hmm.
My boy was talking to this girl, and she
Hmm.
went to Antioch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
so because she went to UCF, so
Right.
a lot of UCF kids go to
UCI,
Antioch,
yeah, it was
right? So
tons.
come on, so my first was Antioch.
Yeah.
So the first day I meet Cam and Dave. My
Okay.
first day at Antioch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from that, they had Young Adult Fellowship and D3, and
Yeah.
Nehemiah was leading
Yeah.
and Cam
Yeah.
was leading. So there was a foundation of like read, apply, do.
Yeah.
It's from
Yeah.
'07 till, later on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life
Yeah.
changed for me a few years
Of
after
course.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to say '07, '08, I was just nothing but church, Cam and Dave. I couldn't get the school loan to get into school. I came down to go to school, couldn't get that.
Right.
Somebody told me about National Guard.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could pay 100% tuition,
Hmm.
10-4, right? So they said, oh, and they gave him $20,000 signing bonus.
Okay.
Where,
Where do I
man,
sign?
listen, I couldn't call somebody fast enough. So yeah, '09, I get that. 2010, I come back, but that's what it was, man.
Yeah.
Just straight, just with disciples and with people who really wanted to live the life. So now we had Young Adult Fellowship at UCF. They had University Christian Fellowship.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
they had OWAC. So it was almost like for the young adults, it was one big church. It
Yeah.
didn't matter what Sunday church you went to, because throughout the week we were all with each other.
Wow.
And that was the foundation of my life from I want to say 2007 to about 2013.
Yeah.
And my sister died of cancer.
Oh man, I didn't know
And
that. Sorry.
yeah, and so I prayed for her. This is my first that fall in love thing I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
I prayed for her. I never prayed for anybody as much as I prayed for her, and I just knew she was gonna make it through. And she died, and I couldn't. I was okay, or I thought I was okay, because the
Yeah.
scriptures say, "Don't worry about all X, Y, Z. Don't worry
Yeah.
about your life. Don't worry
Yeah.
about this." And so I didn't worry, but I didn't address what was going on in my life.
Right.
So I started having anxiety attacks because it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
I didn't release it. It started
Right.
coming in internally.
Okay.
So I started having some of these anxiety attacks. And then I had some friends that I would always just say, "Hey, like, burn one. Just playing. And man, burn one." And nobody would ever say yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one day after a party, Halloween or whatever, I'm like, burn one. One of my friends was like, okay. So now I'm like,
Oh, okay.
okay.
I
So
got
now I
you.
got to figure out how to go get it. So now I
Yeah.
go get it. But then when I did that, that then became again my release to the pain.
Hmm.
And from, just be honest with you, from 2013
Hmm.
up until about a week ago.
Hmm.
So even that's why I got this sweater on. If I can be
Okay.
candid with your audience,
Yeah.
I've been going through withdrawals.
Really.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so from about 2013, I was just my pain. I was giving it. I was Lord over that,
Right.
right? Because I know that coming to Christ from reading the scriptures, it says through many tribulations one must to enter the heaven. So I don't think you'll have a miserable life as a Christian, but you will
No.
have a pain filled life sometimes.
There
And
will be
so,
challenges,
yes.
right?
And so I said, God, well, okay, but I will be the Lord of my pain.
Okay.
Whatever the pain is, I got that. And this is how I deal with it.
Right.
Okay, it'll be all right.
Right.
Okay, it'll be all right. And so
So,
that's,
so what happened a week ago? That am I hearing that you
yeah,
put it down?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
What was the moment?
um, darkness again. Just
Yeah.
back in darkness. I got a family. I got a wife. I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I'm spending just as much time with marijuana that I am with my family, if not more,
Right.
because it became my release. So just breaking down
Mm-hmm.
was therapy to me.
Gotcha.
So I might spend an hour, 2 hours just watching, listening to podcast, whatever.
Yeah.
Just breaking it without outside of smoking. So
Right.
now out smoking, you talking about 3 hours gone, 4 hours gone out of the day.
Yeah.
Every time. So I'm smoking 4 or 5 times a day.
Right.
So now we talking about 10 hours
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
If you add it together.
It's a lot of. I mean, I think you know, drugs. I mean, I did marijuana occasionally. My ex-wife was a smoker,
Mm,
so you join in from time to time. But that
right.
was the extent of it. I think that for me, TV
Mm,
is my. If I'm correct, the term is besetting sin.
okay.
Right, a besetting sin is some of these things that lord over us,
Yeah.
or habits and things that it's tough for us to break.
Right.
Porn,
Right.
smoking,
Right.
TV, all these addictions
Yeah.
that people are subjected to, and they have to do certain things to get it. So for me, when we were doing this, like say the 21 days at fast at
Uh
Antioch,
huh.
that would be the time when I would get that addiction under control with TV. I
Right.
would I would have a all day no TV, maybe an hour at night,
Right.
and before I go to sleep, and that's it.
Right.
So it's the 21 days. That was a way to try to get that self control aspect of the fruits of the spirit,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it's tough to do, right? It's
Right.
tough to do. So I'm glad that you've made this change, man. That's a
Yes, sir.
surprising. I didn't know your story was you were going through this, man. But
Yeah.
we all go through some stuff, and I'm glad that you are gaining control of it. What I do want to ask you is, do you feel like you are still struggling with your sister's passing?
Yeah. Cause then I lost another sister right after that.
Really?
She
Okay.
got diagnosed in 2014. My
Hmm.
younger sister.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and not just that pass. It's just the fact that some things that God allows, I
Hmm.
haven't uh, let Him be God.
Yeah.
I'm questioning like I know better.
Yeah.
So that's what it, and I would have brief moments of sobriety within this 10 years. I
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
segments.
Yeah.
But then as soon as something would hit, or as soon as I couldn't see the finish line,
Hmm.
it would be right back to
Yeah.
smoking. Cause I go ahead.
I have it. No, no, it's cool. I have always brings up my friend Anna Woods. Do you know the
Uh,
Woods, Darren and Anna
yes,
Woods?
oh yes, sir.
Yeah, so she is very versed at grief recovery.
Mm,
And through her, I've learned some things about this grief recovery process that helps us deal not just scripturally but practically about grief and how to come through those things and actually heal from it.
mm,
So if there's a takeaway from this honesty is that that is what we all need, and it's not just people dying. It's changing a loss of a job or loss of any kind that creates this emotion of grief in us, and it is paralyzing.
yes,
And you get stuck in those places, and that's actually the term that she uses is being stuck in that. So the shout out to her. I think
yes,
that
sir.
what I'll do is give you her contact information,
Yes, sir.
and I just think you should sit and talk with her and talk about what that is.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna segue a little bit if
Okay.
that's
Yes,
okay,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So, in spite of all this, I know that you, like you said, are a serial entrepreneur,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
I see you,
Yes, sir.
and I see what you're doing. And what I want to know, I know one of your businesses, but I want you to tell me about your
Yes,
businesses.
sir.
Yeah.
So I met a guy.
Yeah.
His name is Michael. And my
Okay.
son is named after this man.
Okay.
He's got 5 kids, a
Yeah.
wife,
Yeah.
never had a 9 to 5 a day in his life.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she don't work.
Uh huh.
Amazing man to me. I said, well, I've never seen anything like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he used to sell stuff,
Mm-hmm.
narcotics,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And come from going to college, right? You go to these business classes, and most of the time in school, they if you in this business, that's the business you do.
Yeah.
So one day he came and was like, "Hey man, you know anybody want some Robin jeans, some jeans? I got a truck full of jeans." And I said, "Hey man, I thought you just sold drugs." He said, "Man, I'll sell anything if I
Mhm.
get a deal on it."
Mhm. Mhm.
And I had to sit back and I said, "Okay." So to segue in,
Mhm.
I realized that my business is me.
Mhm.
So I don't have a singular business.
Right.
I will sell anything
Okay.
if I can get a deal on it.
Okay.
So now I've learned that I'm selling myself.
Right.
I'm selling my relationship.
Okay.
If you like me,
Mhm.
let me know what you need.
Mhm.
And that's when I found that, oh man, yeah, man, I was looking for a painter. That's why I'm looking at this house. I'm telling you, I am. I'm like, girl, who painted this? Because I know for sure somebody might be like, yeah, man, I've been thinking about getting my house painted. Oh, yeah? And that's where I find myself at. Because if I can just make somebody build a relationship where you care about me and I care about you and you know that, then
Mhm.
maybe we can do some business together.
Okay.
Anything. So essentially, yes, I have a transportation business,
Mhm.
trucking side, and a logistics side. So not just the transport side, but
Mhm.
I'm a freight broker as well.
Okay.
All right. And then I also have a general contracting business. It's called JBML Solutions,
Okay.
where just like this, if somebody needs their house painted, somebody needs their driveway graded, they need a roof done, or we just doing whole new construction on our own house.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I'll say you anything. Like if
Okay.
somebody tells me they think about doing a podcast,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna say, "Hey, what's up, big dog? Hey man, listen, how much would you charge somebody for how much would you charge me? How much would
Right.
you charge me, brother,
Right.
to go do a 2 hour podcast?
Right.
Ah, man, for you, I charge you $200. $200.
Yeah.
$100 an hour. Cool.
Right. Right.
You happy with that?
Mhm.
No, and I'm gonna ask you, are
Mhm.
you happy with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good. Because I'm gonna put my number on top of it. Okay, you don't
Yeah.
mind that?
Yeah.
Good. And
That's
so
right. That's right.
that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna say whatever it is, I'm gonna figure out how to make a dollar off of it.
Okay.
And specifically, for sure, if we got a relationship together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's now what my business is. My
Okay.
business now is to sell my relationship.
Right.
So whatever I can put my hands in, because from going to college, from failing out at TSU, and then
Mhm.
going back to Valencia
Mhm.
and then UCF, I finally applied myself. That first semester, I got a 3.4,
Mhm.
and I was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna try to get all A's.
Yeah.
And then so that next semester, I got all A's and one B. And even then, I didn't try that last class, but I had a 3.9.
Okay.
So from actually doing that, then I realized I could do anything on this earth.
That's right.
I was like, there's nothing I cannot do.
Right.
So now I know there's nothing I can't learn. There's nothing photography. I met a photographer. That's how I know about f-stop and
Mhm.
ISO and
Mhm.
because I learned that.
Right.
I ended up buying a drone. I went out with a
Mhm.
photographer doing drone shot. But again, I'm just trying to figure out how I can make money
Mhm.
without having to clock in. 'Cause I
Mhm.
don't want to ask somebody if my wife is sick, if I can go see her.
Right.
Ah.
Nah.
In 2013, I was selling cars, made the most money I ever made in my life, over $100,000. And I calculated I had to be making him $1 million. But I had to go ask him. My grandmother was turning 75. I said, can I go see her? They said no.
Wow. See, that's a transformational moment.
I
That's
said,
right.
oh no.
Mhm.
And that from 2013, I had quit my job. That was the last time I had a 9 to 5.
Yeah. I had a similar moment. My mom was dying. She had cancer, and I had to actually take the Family Leave Act. I was in corporate America, take
Uh-huh.
the Family Leave Act, went up there to try to do my part with my sisters to take care of my mom. But I couldn't be there on a daily basis like them
Right.
because of work.
Right.
And if I look back, that was a transformational moment for me. It's like I do need, luckily, or sadly, I'd say, getting a steady paycheck is really kind of keeps you trapped
For sure.
sometimes, right?
Right.
Depending on what it is. But for me, the calling was there,
Mm.
but the paycheck was so good, it was very hard to make a conscious decision to leave.
Right.
So I found myself phoning it in at work or quietly quitting, as they put it now.
Right.
And but then the financial crisis hit, and
Right.
they laid off a lot of middle management folks, and I was one of them.
Mm.
And thank goodness, my wife Mo gave me a chance to. Well, you've been always wanting to do this business consulting thing. Give it a shot. And that
Yes,
was
sir.
13 years ago.
Wow.
So never had to go back to work, or
Come
she
on.
hasn't said to me. But to her credit, she's picked up the lion's share of a lot of it, because
Come on.
entrepreneur
Come on.
endeavors. Not everybody's starting out the gate making tons of dollars,
Come on.
right? So you got to build your business.
Come on.
How did you build the trucking business?
So
The
I
freight broker
yeah,
and
in
logistics. So
logistics. Yep.
right.
So it came from learning under this hustler.
Okay.
He is a master hustler.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to sell as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I listened and learned from him. And that's how I learned every business, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's say I hate to take it to drugs, but if you did smoke weed
Mm-hmm.
and you say, all right, I wanna make money. I heard weed make money, man. I wanna sell me some.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be like, well, everybody who smokes probably already has somebody that they buy it from.
Mm-hmm.
So why they gonna buy it from you?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn, how do I get people who already get it from somebody that they like? How do they now get it from me?
Mm-hmm.
I had to come up with different creative ways and different things like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
I took the same, not only that, I
Mm-hmm.
also took, okay, if you buy a pound, but you don't have nobody to get it off to,
Mm-hmm.
now it sits, it rots, you lose money.
Right.
So now don't make a purchase order
Mm-hmm.
without already having a 50% deposit or somebody that you know is interested.
Right.
So then it became, hey man, how much you get this for? Oh yeah? Man, what if
Mm-hmm.
I get it to you about $100 cheap? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if I get to you? So I never really wanted my door to swing. You know what I mean? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knocking, 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 knocking. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to sell maybe one, two people,
Okay.
right? So
Yep.
I took that from what I learned from hustling and from him
Mm-hmm.
into the trucking.
Okay.
So it was the same concept.
So was there a client or a situation that what you just described was how do you apply it to that client and now is
Right.
there
So I was working at the juvenile detention center.
okay.
I was about to have a baby,
Yeah.
right? Cut the weed out again, about to have a baby. Get a regular job now. I was a
Yeah,
full-time
yeah.
musician. I was like, hey, you gotta cut it out now. Come on. So I'm not making nothing, $500, $600 a week.
Right.
And during the pandemic, my boy came and we were in ROTC together at UCF.
Yeah.
And this is in 2013, 2014. And he says, man, I'm gonna go get a CDL. I said, oh, this Negro. I said, we in the army. He finna go we in college. I said, brother, you going backwards. What you gonna do that for?
Yeah.
And fast forward a few years later, he come back. This was in 2017,
Yeah.
pandemic, 3 years later.
Yeah.
He sitting on my boy's couch, a millionaire.
Wow. See? There you go.
Yeah. So he said, he said, man, you could be he said, I made 250,000 my first year trucking. He said, then I started a freight dispatching business. He said, I made another 150. So I said, you sitting at almost $500,000? He said, no, I'm sitting at the whole ticket. So I took his training. It was about $500, $600. I studied it overnight. I worked overnight at the jail.
Yeah.
Friday night, but I didn't go to sleep. When I would come home, I would study it all during the day.
Mhm.
Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Monday, I found my LLC. Tuesday, I get on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's a lot of drivers on Facebook. So same thing. I just hit every single person or driver that I saw on Facebook. And I mean everyone. It had to be thousands.
Mm-hmm.
I messaged thousands of people. I want to say out of thousands, maybe 10 really hit me back. And
That
then
sounds
only
yeah.
one gave me a shot. But in the same week that I paid for the course, by Tuesday, I got my first driver. Wednesday, I had booked the load. So I had freight dispatches. The drivers need to get loads, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're driving, so they can't look on their phone and
Mhm,
drive. So
mhm.
they might hire somebody to do that for them
Right.
if you can take away the headache.
Yeah.
And that was my sale. I was like,
Okay.
what are you gonna give them? What does them buying from you do for them?
Yeah.
I'm your headache. I am your ibuprofen.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
I became everybody's ibuprofen. And
Now,
booked my
now what
first.
do they call that? That's a term for that, right?
I'm not sure.
I think we had a previous conversation about it. There was the freight broker, but there was a person that found the load for the driver.
The freight dispatcher.
Freight
Freight dispatcher. Yes, and
Okay.
that's what I started doing.
Okay.
I just started finding these loads for these guys and doing all their paperwork.
Yeah.
So all they had to do
Was
is
drive.
go and pick it up.
Yeah.
And I made my money back I made $500-$600 in a week.
Nice.
So I was like, oh,
So you don't covered your investment.
come on. I said, oh, this is better than drugs.
That's
This
right.
is better than,
And it's legal.
and it's legal. and it's literally the same thing because,
Yeah.
they call it weight when you're selling drugs. So you
Yeah,
weigh
yeah.
your stuff out and you moving weight.
Yeah.
It was literally the same thing.
right.
Pick up this much weight and we'll pay you this.
Right.
So it translated 100%.
Right. So I gotta throw the guide question in. did God have an influence on you in any way
Yes,
doing this?
yes. So I was always in all of my mess.
Yeah.
I never cursed God. I
Mhm.
never left God because I knew, like Peter, for you have the words of it. Where can I go?
Yeah.
And that was part of my hurt and pain.
Yeah.
Cause like I can't even go nowhere, God.
Mhm.
So where can I go? So I couldn't leave him. I was just in the mess.
Yeah.
So, but you know how he do. When you
Yeah.
call, he ain't gonna elevate. He would not budge. He's like, I will break you.
Mhm.
I will break you down.
Mhm.
And so he broke me. Even I tried to stay in my mess. I was homeless for a point. This is when I started like the whole fall in love went away and I loved God.
Yeah.
Because though I was homeless, I never went a day without eating.
Yeah.
No money, and I
Yeah.
still ate every day.
Yeah.
Still had shelter. This
Mhm.
is when I loved him, and he
Yeah.
showed me who he was.
Yeah.
So I was still having the moments though where I was like,
Yeah.
I'll take the pain though. Remember, but God, I love you, but I'll lower this pain.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm like, you know what though? I don't want to do no more, and I want to help my family.
Yeah.
So now I'm in this trucking, and it's full on entrepreneur. And you know when it's that, you know you don't make sure it happens.
That's right.
So now I'm on my knees, praise and worship, 5 o'clock in the morning, every morning,
Yeah.
praying. And my oh man, brother, brother, I saw God move in so many ways from this truck company because if a guy is in North Carolina and he lives in Arizona and he wants to go back home, I can't make people produce something in North
Yeah,
Carolina
that's
that's
right.
going to Arizona. I can't make that happen,
Right.
but I can pray. And I would pray, God, these men are trying to feed their family. Now help me feed their family. And I would not eat. And it would go all day, and it would be nothing. And I would say, God, I still not gonna eat. And then boom, 4:59. Hey, your truck still available? We got some going to Arizona. So I fell even more in love with entrepreneurship. I didn't even
Yeah.
want to get a steady paycheck. I
Right.
wanted to stay in the world of I have no idea how to control this. Father, help me,
Yeah.
walk with me,
Yeah.
lead me,
Yeah.
guide me.
So
And
how'd you do in your first year?
we made $96,000 my first year.
Nice. That's a great. That's a statistic or a what's the word I'm looking for? But it's
Anomaly.
no man.
No.
That's a great quantitative measure,
Yes, sir.
right? The number speaks for itself.
Yes, sir.
Not like I feel like God did it. He actually,
No, he
you
did.
have a
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
that says that He did it for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah, he did.
right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that was I didn't I think I was 3 months into the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So um that first week I made $500. I think that second week I made like $800. But
Mm-hmm.
then at that point I was making more than I could quit my job. So
Right.
by week 2 I quit.
Right.
By week 4 or week 5 I was making enough to cover what my wife was making. So then
Nice.
she quit.
Okay.
I want to say by month 4 I was doing $4,000 a week,
Nice.
$5,000 a week. Yeah, and then so boom, now I get fully into trucking. So now
Yeah.
I buy a trailer
Yeah.
for $9,000. I
Yeah.
flipped it
Uh-huh.
and doubled up and sold it for 18.
Nice.
So then I bought a truck. So the guy was selling the truck for like right around 30.
Mm-hmm.
We talked. I said, brother, listen. I said, you trying to get this thing sold? Yeah, but I said, listen, all right, I'm gonna be real with you. I got $18,000. Now this is how much of a gangster my wife is. We went from homelessness to having nothing. Now I got $18,000. I didn't even open the envelope. She didn't even open the envelope. I said, babe, we can get this truck. She said, go get it. We didn't even look at the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm like, dang, baby. So I said, man, I got $18,000. I can give it to you right now. He said, you got it on you right now? Yeah. So now I didn't have to depend on a driver or
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, hopefully kind of calling me to get it. Now I can go get the stuff myself.
Okay.
So I got me a truck. But here's the thing. While I was dispatching, my whole goal was to be a freight broker.
Right.
I'm not good at cold calls.
Right.
I'm not good at hearing no.
Right.
Everything I've done in life, I've always been good at.
Right.
So to hear no's over and over and over hurt my heart.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do cold calls.
Man, that can be brutal from a sales standpoint.
Oh, I can't do it. Not from, I played basketball, I was good. I ran track, I was good. I wrestled, I good. I fought, I'm good. Everything I do, I'm good at. So when no's keep coming,
Mm-hmm.
the logical side kicks in. When 2 plus 2 is 4, everything is equal this. When you're good, when it's not that, then you need to stop doing it.
Right. Right.
So I knew I didn't want a cold call. I said, well, if I get a truck, I can meet whoever's the shipping manager.
Yeah.
Then I can just talk to him. Me, sell me.
Right.
And so didn't have no truck at the time. Went and got a CD. Well, my dad, he was a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life, my real dad.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, I love you. Hey, it is what it is. I'm about to tell the truth. Never really been there for me my whole life, though.
Right.
Never
right,
been there.
Right.
So I go to Texas. I fly out to Texas. I see my dad again for the first time in I don't know how long.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm in truck. He was a truck driver." I was like, "I'm in trucking now, Dad. I'm gonna buy a truck, Dad. I'll put you in it, man. Get you a CDL, Dad. You don't got to keep doing this." So I fly back. I say, "Hey, baby, I'm gonna buy us a truck. I'm gonna put my dad in it." She says, "Why you gonna put your dad in?" Now, oh, don't you talk about my dad? Now I'm banging on my wife. It's my dad, right?
My dad, right?
You better not say nothing about my dad. And it took me some time to really step back, like, yo, has he done anything ever for you? Have you ever been able to depend on him?
Right.
I had to go, but baby, I said, you know how I can get.
Listen to the woman.
I can throw my set up sometimes. So I said, you know what, baby, you right. And I was in the back and I thought that. I said, well, I'm gonna get a CDL.
Yeah.
Didn't know how, didn't have the money. I said, I'm gonna get one. Because this is still early in the trucking.
Right.
I knew I wanted to get one.
Yeah. All signs point to success.
Come on.
Right?
I knew I wanted to get one. So I started just Googling
Mm-hmm.
free ways to get a CDL.
Mm-hmm.
I go meet with a couple people. They said, well, you can use the GI Bill. Boom. And that was my way in.
Right.
So I get the CDL, started the freight brokerage, let that sit, and kept running stuff. And then as I learned the business, I'm glad I didn't start the freight brokerage because I would have sunk immediately under. I would have known enough.
Yeah.
So I learned from dispatching all these other guys.
Did you have a mentor at all in that process?
No. So the guy that gave me the course, he never answered the phone.
Gotcha.
Gave me the course, and that was it. I tried to call him.
Yeah.
That was it.
Gone.
That was it. Never. I mean, I had to call him about 100 times if I pull that missed call log up. Easily. Because soon as somebody said, all right, I'll go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bro, what I'm supposed to do now? What do I get now? What is this? What is this? And nothing.
Yeah.
So nobody held my hand through any of it.
That's good.
So me and my wife figured this thing out. And my wife is even more. She didn't even take a training.
Mm-hmm.
When I was going to get my CDL, I said, baby, you're going to have to dispatch these trucks.
Yeah.
I ain't teach her. I didn't train her. She just watched me. And while I'm getting my CDL, she's working at home for DCF and dispatching all these truck drivers.
Okay.
Going hard. All right. Making me look amazing. You know what I mean? And so she sustained us. She sustained me for years. Like,
how long y'all been married?
6 years.
6 years.
6 years. Together for 8.
All right.
My wife is amazing, though. If we can go back to her.
Mm-hmm.
When I was doing music, she came by and heard my music and loved it so much that she was like, whatever I can do to help you.
Yeah.
She went and got a job and gave me her debit card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all ride or die from the beginning,
from the beginning. As a friend, just as a friend, though.
Right.
Just not dating. We weren't anything. She was just a friend and was like, yo, this is amazing. Yeah. How can I help? Yeah. And she went and got a job. I stayed at home and kept working on music. And she just left her debit card with me. It was like, get whatever you need. Get it.
Okay.
And that's how, So these are the things I think about when sometimes I start getting mad at her or whatever. I'm like, bro, this is the only woman. And when you had nothing and y'all got homeless, she's the only one.
I tell you, man, I always, 60 years old, man, I'm just thinking about the successful men that I know. There's always been a solid woman right by him.
Come on. Yeah. How can one get to the level where God has them without the woman?
That's right.
I would say
it's been mandated from the beginning.
I would say it's an impossibility.
Yeah.
For him, I will create a helpmate.
Helpmate. That's right.
I ain't doing all this.
That's right.
But I had to learn.
Yeah.
The women that I had, that it wasn't working out because I wasn't a productive man at that time. I was just smoking a lot.
Right.
So shout out to Minister Louis Farrakhan. I was listening to him preach a sermon, and I was always scared of him. Growing up Christian, I was scared of Muslims, right?
Yeah.
I heard a YouTube video in the living room. My roommate got it on. He had on Farrakhan, so I'm praying. I'm like, oh Lord, don't
let the minister come in my head.
Don't let this Muslim. And I heard him say, that man Jesus. And I said, hold on. So I had to peek my head out.
Right.
And he started talking about Jesus, but ultimately he started talking about a man.
Right.
He said when God made a man, he was already a producer. He was working in the garden. And it wasn't until he was working that he gave him a woman.
Okay. Okay.
I said, oh, he said, she's made to help you.
Yeah.
He said, she can't help you do nothing.
Mhm.
He said, it's like the Bible says it's taking fire into your bosom.
Right.
She'll burn you in the day.
Right.
She'll burn you in the night because she's looking to help you.
Right.
So when I got productive, I knew that then a woman would come along to help me then produce.
Okay.
And God put the perfect woman for me
Awesome.
to help me produce and get to the level that where we are now.
Right.
So she helped me dispatch. We made that 96,000. We bought a truck. We bought a trailer. Now we rolling.
Right.
We
So what
leasing.
are the other businesses you got going?
So JBML Solutions. So
Yeah.
it's general contract work, but we build our own homes.
Mhm.
So we all new construction. We specialize. Well, we really want to do all new construction,
Right.
but the rehab for people's homes,
Yeah.
that's daily bread. Right?
Okay.
Give us their daily
Yep.
bread.
Yep.
So if I build a house, we're not gonna see no money in 3-4 months, even if we build it quickly.
Right.
But if I could just do daily jobs,
Mhm.
paint, of course, I don't want to, that's daily money. So I got into that with my boy. So he started to wholesale houses.
Mhm.
2017. I watched the man, like I say, the same hustler,
Mhm.
not know nothing, not know nothing.
Mhm.
Wholesaled one house,
Mhm.
made $2,000.
Mhm.
The investor needed material picked up. He said, I'll go pick it up for you. He picked up so much stuff that other people looked at him and was like, well, what you working on?
Mhm.
Oh man, I'm building a house. But from that, all these guys, start getting all these guys' number.
Right.
So he's the same way, man. If you need something, just call me.
Yeah.
So he would have compiled all of these numbers from going to Home Depot and Lowe's every
Yeah,
single day from
yeah.
just picking up for one person.
Right.
That when somebody called him and said, well, I need an electrician to come out. Hey, man, so I saw a man who knew nothing about housing. He touched $1 million this year.
Nice. Nice.
Nothing. Now
Okay.
and so that's what me and him jumped into business. So we used to trap together
Mhm.
and we jumped into the legit side together. Let me tell you about
Okay.
his story.
Mhm.
He was doing what he was doing.
Mhm.
Flew back from where he was to Orlando. He had $20,000 on him. They took his cash at the airport.
Wow.
They took his money. So now he's here, no money. He got kids. He got a family.
Right.
I didn't know this, but I started praying and God started talking to me. He said, go take this money to Mike. Take some money to Mike. He said, and tell him if he never goes back, I will give him that times 10.
Okay.
I will bless his life. And so I went over there and I said, hey, brother, God wanted me to tell you something. He wanted me to tell you to never go back to selling drugs. And if you do, he's going to bless you tremendously. And here's this money.
Right.
It was his daughter's birthday.
Mm.
I didn't even know it. And he gave me a hug. He said, I couldn't get nothing for my daughter on her birthday. And Jamisin, he said, I'll never forget it.
Mhm.
You gave me something. He said, everybody knew I was down and you put money in my pocket.
Okay.
And he never went back. And now, like I said, millionaire.
Right.
And so that's his story. And so when I bought the truck, I dropped all this money, about 18,000. I had to get the tires changed, had to get all of this stuff. So now I'm $25,000 in the hole. I still got to get insurance on the truck.
Right.
So I got to put a down payment on it. It's like $3,500. So now I'm calling, I say, hey man, I got the truck, I got this. I said, man, I just need $3,500. I said, I'm gonna figure this out, blah, 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 blah. Before we get off the phone, I got a cash app. Ding! He sent me $3,500. Didn't ask him. Just sent it to him. I love that man. My son is named after him.
Okay.
He sent me $3,500. So we've been in business together since we left kind of that world.
Right.
So I jumped in trucking. He gave me money from that, but I put him on my business to make sure he was good. He jumped into the real estate, but we did that together. Not only did I put money, but he would teach me or I would watch him.
Right.
So that's kind of how we balance the two off of one another.
Gotcha.
So there's a truck and logistics side, which works out. Because now,
did he turn out to be a believer?
you know, he went from thinking that Jesus wasn't real, because I get it, right? They paint the oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
They paint him white, which is the same color as our oppressor. So
Mhm.
what the devil's gonna do, he gonna talk to the black man.
Mhm.
He gonna say, that's God.
Mm-hmm.
Every white, that's God.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't believe in Jesus
Right.
because he was the same color as the oppressor.
Gotcha.
And so it took some time, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
through some conversations and through me telling him, he's definitely reading more.
Mm-hmm.
But this man is an interesting man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know if you want to go into, but he believes a lot of crazy stuff that I didn't believe.
Conspiracy theorist kind of guy?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. But
okay.
he's that guy because of the oppressor.
Yeah.
He said everything the oppressor taught is
Mhm.
false.
Mhm.
He said, I will not take it. So he came over and told me the earth was flat. I said, oh no, Lord, God, put God back on to somebody. Whatever it takes, God, that's what it takes. So I said, you know what, this man is wild. And so I argue with him, and we would argue for days. But then I remember hearing Farrakhan too also say,
Yeah.
what if Jesus was knocking on your door at midnight?
Uh-huh.
He said, now he's standing there with his brown skin, long drip, maybe here. He said, what y'all gonna say? Forgive me. He said, who that nigga at my door? He said, that's what,
Certainly not. Come on in.
no, that's what you're gonna say. Who is this at my door? And he said, now he might be there to bring you truth,
Yeah.
life, and love. And I had to ask myself, can I hear truth from a black man?
Right.
Because for sure, if he was standing with a doctor coat on, he was cocaine, I would have listened to him.
Yeah.
I would have heard him. So I let that go. But then as I started reading the scriptures and I studied, I learned Hebrew, so I can speak Hebrew.
Okay.
Ani medabi ivrit. Ani medabi ivrit aksha.
What's that mean?
So I speak Hebrew.
Okay.
And then I learn. Ani
Okay.
lo medabi.
Okay.
I learn Hebrew now.
I got you.
So I started to learn Hebrew. And from learning the Hebrew and reading the scriptures, I found out that I believe too, that through the scriptures that the world is flat. And see, he was trying to show that the world was flat to disprove the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but when I found it in the Bible, this is what made him want to read it.
Okay.
So I thank God for that.
Okay.
So a lot of times people say it don't matter if the earth is flat. I'm like, it don't. But for somebody, it might. And
It might be the thing that opens their eyes and certainly chink their heart
Come
to
on.
hearing the truth.
And for him, he was now open
Mhm.
to listening
Mhm.
to the Bible.
Okay.
So when people say that, I'm like, well, that's just not your front. That's not your war. Me, Crystal, and Alex, we stayed up to about 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday. My wife, Crystal, Alex, and we talking
Okay.
about these very same things.
Right.
It was like, and I was like, Crystal, we are all in the same army.
Mm-hmm.
In World War II, they was 2 fronts, right? Japan,
Mm-hmm.
Normandy. I said, you might have to go fight in Japan. I might have to, don't go tell me I can't go fight in Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna tell you, I'm gonna support you in Japan.
Right.
Now let me go fight over here in Normandy.
Right.
But at the end, we still trying to get to Jesus.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna segue a little bit again.
Yes, sir.
Right. Creativity. We touch on creativity on this podcast too, and I
Yes,
know that you are very creative.
Yes, sir.
So share with me your creative outlets.
Oh, so music was the first one, right?
First
But that
one,
came from
right.
heartbreak,
Okay.
right? Got my little heart broken. The girl that I thought I was gonna marry, she ended up getting engaged, and broke my little heart. I couldn't believe she told him. Couldn't believe she told another man she was gonna be with him forever. So we start crooning. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm getting my Marvin Gaye on.
So what you sing?
Yes. So at first I just played the guitar.
Okay.
So I remember Miss Thesda, her daughter. Miss Thesda.
Miss Thesda.
Her daughter Ajua, she played the guitar. And I remember going up to FAMU and she was playing the guitar and I was like, God, I wish I could do something like that.
Right.
So I was coming back from FAMU, listening to her play the guitar, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get a tattoo. I was like, that'd be stupid. So I drove to Guitar Center and bought a guitar. So I started playing guitar.
Okay.
And then I would start playing, and Dave was like, well, bro, you can't play the guitar and not make no music, but I can't sing.
Right.
So I'm like, dog, I can't make no music. I can't sing. He was like, just go. So I started writing. I wrote my first song with Danny Green.
Okay.
It's called Last Rose.
Okay.
The premise of the song was you, like in The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, you know how they give out all these roses, but it's the last one that matters. So it was like this girl, I'm like, yo, I gave out all my roses to all these different women, but you were supposed to be my last one.
Gotcha.
So that was the first song I wrote. And then I was listening to other music, and then that became my outlet.
Right.
To just all my heartbreak, all my heartache, croon it out.
Okay.
And because of the feeling that I felt, even though I wasn't the best singer, people could feel the spirit in which I was singing. Like the tears sometimes would come down and they could feel it. And I think that's what it came through with my wife. She could feel what I was going
So when you met her, you were already good at singing and playing the guitar.
I was already playing. I wasn't good. I wasn't good at it at all.
All right.
I was not good, but I was doing it. And because the feeling was there, they were attaching more than that than actual playing and singing.
So not just the guitar. I mean, I think you played the drums a little.
Right? No, that's Dave. No, I don't play the drums. I just play the guitar.
Somehow I have a vision of you all playing. No. I have a picture of you
playing the
Back when Grace
bass,
Alive playing the
playing
bass
the
and your
bass,
arms are up like
playing the
this.
bass.
That was the bass.
So I
Okay.
never played that either though.
Right,
But
right.
one Sunday, we had a guy Steven there,
Yeah.
a white guy. So we had a song. We were playing "My God," boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little difficult for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had never played the bass, but I was like, I could do that. I got you. Boom, 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 boom. So that was my initiation into playing the bass.
Gotcha.
Right. So, but again, remember from going to college, I said I can do anything.
That's right.
Anything.
Yeah.
So music, um, anything in the art. So I'm writing a play right now. It's a barbershop setting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's based. I want the people to understand how a black man feels. So,
All right. So now, okay, let me be sure I got this right. So we got music.
uh-huh.
We got playwright or
Or screenplay.
screenplay
Yeah.
writing.
So
Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
writing a play, but I got movie ideas too.
Okay.
All right. And I'll just throw this out there. I don't know if I'll go with it because I'll throw it out there. It's a dope idea though.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I stopped eating meat for a while. So I remember I was trying to sell my family on stop eating meat. And they wouldn't do it. I said, man, that'd be like a mosquito saying stop eating blood. So I made a movie where a mosquito who went to high school,
Yeah.
smoked, but he stopped eating blood and only
Okay.
ate fruit.
Okay.
And was trying to convince all his other mosquito friends, it was called Mosquito High,
Wow.
to stop drinking blood and to
Okay.
eat fruit.
All right.
So I
That's
started.
great. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, right? So I started writing these movies, but from doing the shows, from playing shows, everybody would get up there. Thank you. That was this. Now this next song is this. Play. Thank you. And I was like, bro, I'm not setting myself apart.
Yeah.
I said, how can I do it? I said, I'm gonna write a play that the dialogue leads into the song.
Okay.
So that's what the premise of it was. And the name of my band was Black Man. At the time, we were just getting killed on camera 2015, 16, for a long time. So the image of what a black man was, I was like, I want people to know that it's not just a rapper. It's not a basketball player.
Right.
He could be an engineer.
Anything.
Anything. So I was like, I'm going to write a play, and all these men I'm going to have in my play, they're going to be poets, they're going to be rappers, they're going to be singers, they're going to be engineers, and I'm going to showcase what a black man is through a barbershop setting. And so that's what the nature of this play is.
Okay.
To showcase the differences, the different people we have. So we got the older guy that's in the barbershop.
Right.
We
Like
got
Cedric.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
It's a typical barbershop. Now I'm trying to make it, and we got the we call them hoteps. The guy that's the Egypt guy. You know what I mean? Everything is. We were kings and queens, and we got the white guy that but instead of him not having nobody in his chair, he can really cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He can really cut.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy that's pro-black and don't like the white guy. But as much as he don't like him, the white guy's chair is filled and his ain't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So just trying to give the entire dynamic. And that was me for a point in time too. I was just super pro-black, man. And but so screenplays, screenwriting, music. My wife is writing a book.
Okay.
I'm trying to help her. It's already written, so we just got to get it published.
Right.
It's called The Lake House.
Okay.
She was sexually assaulted, so it's her journey through her sexual assault. And baby, I love you. Hope your mommy tell you.
Yeah.
She don't. She's lured over it.
Okay.
She was sexually assaulted as from 7 to 13,
Right.
and then again raped when she was in college. That's why she came to my house. She needed a safe place to stay.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. We
Yeah.
were just friends.
Yeah.
She just needed a safe place to stay. And her family didn't open up their doors.
Gotcha.
They blamed her.
Right.
It's your fault.
It's terrible. Terrible
So
thing.
so she wrote a book to Journey, and she came to me broke. I was broken too. And she came to me broken, not trying to curse God, but mad at God. And I said, well, not over here, because I get it, but we ain't got nowhere else to go over here.
Right.
So as mad as you can be, we still gonna serve God.
Yeah.
And through that, she worked her way through and back to the Lord through that, because I can only imagine a woman crying out to Jesus and nothing happening.
Yeah.
And nothing happening. So I can only imagine, but she worked her way back to him. Now she's got this book. And so now we're working on this book with her. So books, plays, music.
Creative outlets.
Whatever it takes.
Awesome. So how does we didn't touch on martial arts. I do want to touch on that as we do a holistic conversation with you. Tell me about the martial arts.
So that happened in the military.
Okay.
So We started first in the military, but
Yeah.
we're about to get ready to go for a deployment.
Okay.
And this kid, a little white kid, says, "Man, you want to do some hand-to-hand combat?" I
Uh,
said, "Man, I wrestle too." I said, "Yeah, man. Let's go, brother. I ain't got nothing but time on my hands. We in the middle of the desert."
Right, right.
Man, I want to say we rode for about 4 minutes. He had to choke me out about 8 times. But I'm
Wow.
talking about I'm in there chicken wing like
Yeah.
these, like these. And I didn't even have a girl at the time, early 20s. And I,
Yeah.
I thought, man, if this would have happened to me in front of my lady,
Uh,
because I'm a certified talker. You know what I mean? Like
uh,
I'll be, wow, who you talking to?
right,
Blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah.
right.
I said, man, if this would have happened to me on the street, I'd have been like, baby, why you ain't wash them dishes? Why ain't ask that boy
That
on
one.
on the street to wash some dishes? Now I gotta be, you know what, give me the rag. Okay, just give it to me. So that's where that stemmed from me
Yeah.
just getting into martial arts.
Gotcha.
So just got into it, I want to say 2009, 2010 time frame, and stuck with it
Mm-hmm.
since because it's such a creative outlet. I didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it's just fighting.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got years into it. It's not.
So how does that manifest in your life today?
Oh man. Oh. It takes so long to get a black belt
Yeah.
in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
About 10 to 15 years.
Right.
So now I'm almost there.
Okay.
I took some years off, but it's still been about 15 years, and I'm still not a black belt.
Right.
So you got to imagine people would could have gotten a doctorate degree sometimes by this point,
Yeah.
and I still don't have it. So I liken a black belt to being a
Okay.
doctor of whooping butt. Okay, and I'm a PhD in that, y'all. Don't run up on me. No, I'm playing. But it took so long to get progression, and this is also progression that you can't give yourself.
Right.
So even if you think you better, you can't give it to yourself.
Right.
You can try, but somebody outside from in the community has to see you as such. And I dealt with that for a long time, but then I had to learn that this is all of life.
Yeah.
There's 5 major belts. There's white belt you start at,
Yeah.
blue belt,
Yeah.
purple,
Okay.
brown, black.
Black,
That's pretty
okay.
much it.
Right.
In those 5, you got about 15 years.
Wow.
Right. So got my white belt, got my blue belt 6 months. I got my blue belt pretty swift.
Mm-hmm.
I was a blue belt for years after that, 5, 6 years. I'm like,
Wow.
I can't, because I couldn't promote myself because there's a point where it's not athletic ability. It's, are you thinking more than this man?
Right.
Do you know more? And it took me some time, and now I relate that to everything in my life. Jamisin, where are you at? Are you a blue belt? Yes, now I'm a blue belt in real estate. So I don't get frustrated like I'm supposed to know everything.
Right.
I'm like, bro, you just a blue belt. You just getting into this thing. You a year or 2 into it.
Yeah.
You got 11, 12, 13 more years before you just know a beginning black belt.
Right.
You know, right? You got grandmasters who are red belts where they teach. So the only way to get promoted after a black belt is you have to be a professor.
Right.
So they got red belts like they've been teach to get that you had to been teaching for almost 60 years.
It's funny, one of my favorite movies is this movie called Red Belt.
Mm.
And it's the backstory is that community. And the main character, I think his name is Chiwetel Ejiofor, right?
This ain't gin, y'all. It's just water. All right, don't y'all come at me.
But he was in that place where he was been a black belt for years, teaching, very disciplined, and by the end of the movie, long story short, he was handed the red belt
Yes, sir.
by the professor.
Yes, sir.
So, in these terms that you're using didn't make sense. Still didn't make sense until you just talked about it.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's
Yes, sir.
awesome.
Yeah, so that now like I said, I relate everything in my life to jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
Where are you at?
Mhm.
How much are you learning? Maybe you're not smart enough.
Mhm.
Yes, you have the resourcefulness to get
Mhm.
things done, which would equate to like athletic ability,
Yeah.
but maybe you don't have the mental capacity.
Right.
Maybe you need to readjust. Maybe you need to slow down,
Mhm.
and maybe somebody does have to promote you
Right.
to the
Right.
next level.
So you in the beginning you said that your voice was hoarse because of an event.
Yeah.
Tell me a little
we
about
had
that.
Jiu-Jitsu World League, and so I go out there and I coach these guys,
Mhm.
and when they're not listening, I scream at them. When they're not doing what I ask them to do, I scream at them. And so I got to catch myself because sometimes a cuss word might slip. I be
Right.
forgetting they wife and kids behind them. Like,
Oh wow!
I'm sorry, big dog. Get up, get up. So, but I'm just passionate about them because I realized how much time they invested in it.
Yeah.
And then two, I'm leaving my family.
Right, right,
Y'all
right.
family's here.
Yeah.
Mine is not.
Right.
So I'm leaving my family to be with y'all.
Yeah.
So do what I asked you to do.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but that's not where I'm a coach now, and my black belt is already set in stone.
Okay.
Like I know when I'm getting it.
Gotcha.
That took some humility too,
Right.
because I've been scraping black belts for a while now.
Right.
Even the last tournament I did, I'm the champion, welterweight, 170 Naga,
Okay.
and only black belts in my division.
Right.
Ran through everybody. So now I'm like, give me my black belt. It's Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I call my professor. Hey, it's Father's Day. What's your plan? Oh no, I ain't planning on giving you no black belt.
Wow.
What you talking about? My family's back in town. Oh man, I wanted to wait till the end of the year to Christmas. And I'm like, Negro, I don't even celebrate Christmas. I don't want to wait till the end of the year. But then again, this is because I'm seeing dollar signs too. Once you give me this black belt, people can't understand the brown. They don't understand because they don't do it.
Right.
So they don't see a black belt. They don't see I'm 10, 15 years into this.
Right.
They just see not the black belts.
Right.
So I'm like, you have to give me my PhD, brother.
Yeah.
Because once you give this to me, now I can go do the public speaking,
Right.
to make it synonymous.
Right.
Now I can go do the presentation because now I am certified.
You've graduated.
Come on.
Yeah.
Don't hold me back.
Yeah.
I can make money now and feed my family. And so I'm just frustrated. I'm like, give it to me. But I had to learn, okay, brother, it's not you can't whoop them to make them do it.
Yeah.
Because you promote yourself, yes. And nobody would know the difference. Can't nobody, if I put one on right now, it ain't a black belt right now to come take it off of me.
Right.
He gonna have an issue.
Okay.
But I had to humble myself. I remember in Proverbs, I was just reading that. It said, but first one must be humble.
Right.
So I had to humble myself.
That's God's influence, right?
Come on.
Right. Directly?
Come on.
Directly.
Directly. And that's why I say jujitsu translates to everything in my life. Because you have to humble yourself. Because even as a brown belt doing it 10, 15 years, that could be still a blue belt in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a super athlete.
Yeah.
Come in there and whoop you. It's difficult to have somebody when they looking at you and they know you should be better and you get beat up.
Yeah.
These are things that humble you. And so now but I've been homeless, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
I've been homeless now. At this point, you throw whatever you want.
Yeah.
I had nothing, I had everything.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So as we close,
Yes,
right?
sir.
I wanted to ask you for sure, God willing, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh,
For your family, for yourself?
probably having at least one more child.
One child.
I want another boy. I don't know. I got 2 boys. I ain't never had a daughter. I just got hypothetical things that I think about having a daughter, right?
Yeah,
I ain't got one, so I don't know the truth on it.
Yeah.
I just say I don't want one. Because I ain't got to deal with a lot of stuff. Because I can imagine if my wife was my daughter, or somebody got to die.
Yeah.
Somebody got to die today. And she
Yeah.
was just my friend, and he was going to die.
Yeah.
Right?
I
So
understand, love
he
for
was
a girl.
she wouldn't tell me where he was, but he was out of here. I was like, oh, no,
Yeah.
I signed up in the military, right? I
Yeah.
volunteered to go take people out that didn't do nothing to me.
Yeah.
So for sure, if you're doing nonsense, listen, I don't got no problem taking out evil. None. And we'll sleep like a baby. So that's what my fear is of having a daughter, right? So, but I do see myself maybe having at least one more child.
Okay.
Financially, I don't want to put a number on it, but at least 7 figures.
Yeah.
I want to be at 8
Yeah.
because I want to be the good Samaritan,
Yeah.
right? You have to have something to be him. I want to be able to put up somebody and say, it don't matter. Just build me at the end.
Gotcha.
That's who I want to be. And somebody has to have the resources. So I'm building this not so I can just have more. I had nothing, so I don't really need nothing. But I know others need it. This is too why I get so upset with the church. Oh, don't get me going. Yeah, let me go. No, let me go since I'm here.
All right.
Let me go since I'm here. I am extremely upset that some of these church buildings have millions of dollars and the people who go have nothing. Because even a king, his horses sleep in stables. So how you telling me you a shepherd and you love the sheep and you have sheep that don't have a house, that don't have food, but your building has millions? Church, pastors, come to the front. No, this is real. This is from my heart. Because how did you say you love somebody? How are you a shepherd of the sheep and your sheep are hurting and you got everything and extra? Matter of fact, the church is supposed to be who? They say the church is the people.
Right.
It ain't even the building.
Right.
So why does the building have money? I
That
got into.
that
I
model, there's a lot of holes in the model nowadays, and I think COVID has
come on,
been a key factor in exposing some of the uh, business practical side of traditional church models. So
right,
I don't disagree with you. There's a case for that,
right.
definitely. And the community, the scriptures always say, right, the um, widows and orphans
Come on,
are going to be with us,
come on.
right? So
What they do in Acts? That's what I'm saying. I would read the Bible and then I would try to apply it.
yeah,
So in Acts, I'm seeing
yeah,
people are selling their houses. I
yeah,
say, oh, shoot, I ain't met a Christian yet
hmm,
that'll sell their house.
yeah,
And I've been going to church for many years. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. So even
yeah.
my boy Dave, I love you. I'm gonna keep it real. Even my boy Dave, I would be like, brother, we got volunteers from when they first start. We got volunteers. They can't feed their family, but you spend all this money on lights. You spend all this. That's not people.
Mhm.
Let's help the people first, and then after that, we can get anything we need.
Yeah.
I said, but there ain't no way you trying to tell me these people got to set up and then they got to still go figure out how to feed their family. And you got them, we got the money here, and it's
Mhm.
getting. You bought a TV, and you bought this, and you bought this. It ain't no human being. I
Mhm.
thought you said the church was the people.
Yeah.
Let's help the church. Let's give money to the church. And so my money now goes to people.
Mhm.
I don't really give to churches. Not to
Mhm.
say I'm against it,
Mhm.
but I want to personally give to a human. And
Right.
I see your ministry, you like it would be, bro, 15% might come to you now. It's like
Mhm.
I see what you're doing.
Mhm.
You're going to preach the gospel. That's a ministry. I got you.
Right.
I got you. So 10, 15 years down the line, maybe having a congregation of my own, but if not my own, I don't care. It don't gotta be my own. It ain't mine anyway. It's not mine.
Right.
It's God's.
Right.
So I'm saying this is this church, and this is the name of our church. How your church got a name on it? It
Right.
ain't even your church. It's
Well,
God's church.
I'll tell you. I mean, that's a good point. At some point, I think that I personally, I don't really have a specific. I think for me to last, when I look forward, I just want to be useful. Wherever he says, wherever he allows me to be,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure he's going to take care of me. So
Yes,
just
sir.
use me in such a way that's going to benefit his people,
Yes, sir.
his building, whatever the case, whatever resources or outlets that he chooses.
Yes, sir.
My feeling is just to be in there somewhere
Yes.
and be
Come on.
useful.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Listen, bro, we're going to close it right here if
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
If that's okay.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you so much
Yes, sir.
for
Can
coming
we
and
close out
joining
with a
me.
prayer?
Absolutely.
Go. You want to do it?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll do it. Father, in Jesus' name, Lord, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for the opportunity to sit and talk about you, Jamison's family, my family, your impact in our lives. And we continue to ask to bless and keep us all. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Thank you, brother.
Love you,
Thank you.
bro.